I know I gotta read something for you. I know I gotta give you my opinion on something for you. That's your expectation, right? Okay? Every single day? Man, you wear me out. Every single day. Every single day. What do you teach? AP Psych. Okay? Now, AP Psych is a higher level class. That should be the expectation. But here's the catch. We need to have that expectation in every single class. Because that's how we race everybody in the boat. It can't be just for A and B. Ms. Richardson, is this what you follow? What do you teach?
Civic literacy, academic geography, and honor sociology.
Okay, so, Ms. Richardson, you want me to write?
Oh, that's what the number one thing.
There's no one complaint, right? But here she go again. She got us writing something, right? What do I have to respond to my other classmates, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, the point I'm making, because I've looked at your canvases and you're right, that's what's in there. When I go in there as a student, I know what the expectation is. I know what I have to do. So here is a activity for you. I want you to go to your homeroom class right now.
I don't know that.
Okay, so you can look at Ms. Palmer's. Because you don't have a homeroom.
No.
For what? Yeah. Are you in your homeroom? You don't have a homeroom. But yeah, you see, these are the lessons. So, 12th grade. So second block. Okay, so is everybody at their homeroom? Okay, you don't have a homeroom. Who else in here doesn't have a homeroom? Can you go sit with this one? Okay, everybody else that I'm looking at has a homeroom. I know more about your homerooms than I care to right now. Okay? So, let's just look at day one, the first lesson.
Are we looking at the modules? Or
Yeah,
section?
because in Canvas, where is a student supposed to go first? Let me ask y'all that question. Where do they go first? Modules. They're not supposed to go to an assignment. They're not supposed to go to a discussion. They're not supposed to go anywhere else but modules. Okay? So if I go to modules, I have all the lessons that I push out to you. So here's how it works. Your student is gonna be in second block, okay? At 10 o'clock to 10:42. Regardless, because some people have blended classes, right? each one of those students is gonna go to their homeroom class. So if they're a 10th grader, they're gonna go to their 10th grade homeroom. If they're a 12th grader, they're gonna go to their 12th grade homeroom. The goal over time is to make these literacy lessons specific to the grade. So, for example, a 9th grader, they just learning how to write. They need sentence starters. They need a whole lot of strategies in order to write. A 10th grader, not so much. However, the questions that they would be required to ask are a little bit raised on level. And so the story goes for 11th and 12th. So regardless of where these students are at a particular time, which is in second block, they're gonna go to your homeroom. Now, one teacher asked me, because these are assignments they would submit, who's doing all the grading of these assignments? It's not about the grading. It's about, do we see progress in students who start a lesson and end in May writing at a higher level? Because, Mr. Paulo, that is the expectation in your class, right? That when you get them, they may not be as proficient as you would like to see them, right? But through the assignments, you see that progression. Is that not correct? Okay. And it's the same thing. When you look at your homeroom, it's not about grading. It's about looking at Johnny from where he was to where he is now. And if you use the Canvas analytics, it tells you what the progress has been. So, these lessons that for this week, everybody got the same lesson. Everybody will always get the same format of the lesson. What's gonna be different are the prompts, depending on the grade. Okay? It's an engaging lesson. So the second block teacher can say, go to Canvas, do the assignment, okay? Because if you look at the slides of what you're asked to do, I'm just gonna go to this day. Here are the slides. There's a do now, and it's in the format of how you write these so-called labs, right? I do, we do, you do. All right? So when you look at what students are asked to do, they are asked So let's go back to Monday. On Monday, question was, what's reframing? You're supposed to have a discussion with students about what is reframing. How does it become positive? How is it negative? What can you do to have a positive frame of mind? All the lessons are based on capturing kids' hearts. Now, you can't capture a kid's heart if you're saying, go to Canvas and do the assignment. Okay? So the lessons are interactive. They are not self-done with just students doing the lesson one at a time. The next thing is, have a discussion. After that, you talk about positive thoughts, negative thoughts. Then, read an article. Now, someone mentioned, you know, with these kids, a lot of times you gotta chunk things. Because you give them an article to read, they look, you want me to read all that? I don't have time. However, these lessons are designed to go from day to day, all this week. The only thing we're talking about is reframing. And then you have a discussion board where they talk with each other. And here's lunch. See ya. Have a nice day. So it's important to understand, we're not trying to get kids that actually turn in a work for a grade. It's about understanding how do you increase literacy. And we know this works because there are other schools that do it. Other schools just like us that do this every single day. And we can't just do it for all the high level courses. We have to do it for every single course that we have. And you know, all of the products that every grade level has the same thing. Look, this week, every grade level had the same questions. It was just to get everybody in the consistency level. Okay? I wish it was too, but see, let me just tell you what happened. We went from ACT, right? Everybody was doing their ACT load every day. And then we wanted to transition to something else. Well, something else wasn't figured out until Thursday, last week. And so that something else was based on raising literacy across the school. We had a lesson, but we hadn't talked about how we needed to make that transition. So it would have been nice if I did this last week, okay, and gave y'all a heads up as to what was going to change. It was put in the Rams, what is that called? The Rams, rundown. Okay, and I said, and then I looked at where it was, and I said, you know, some people don't make it past half page before they say, I've read enough, let me go in something else. So then I posted in Canvas, hey, this is what you're gonna be doing, and I said, I knew it was gonna be a bumpy ride, okay, because a lot of you, Canvas is not something you roll out of bed, you come to school, you turn it on, and you say, okay, this is what we do. Okay, I know you do something, it's hard to break it down, but when I look at the lesson, I know there's a thought process going into that. So, if I'm a parent, just turn it around, and I go on your Canvas, I know what my kids do, I know what you expect, okay? And so, the next thing you're gonna do, how many of you know how to create a sandbox? You know what a sandbox is? It's where you play, you make mistakes, you mess it up, you undo it, you do all kinds of things in the sandbox. Each teacher needs to have a sandbox so that you can figure out how you want your lessons to look. And do they all need to look the same? No, that's not what I'm saying. But you need to have a structured format of what the lesson is. Okay? If you're in math, okay, part of that, I got to figure out how I'm going to teach these kids whatever concept you're on. But then after I teach it to them, I want them to explain to me how they came up with the answer. So what's the discussion question? What's the article or the piece of information I'm gonna have them read. Because the hardest thing about math is that these kids think you just asking them to do busy work. It has nothing to do with what I'm gonna do in life. And you gotta make that connection, okay? If I'm running a lemonade stand, I gotta know what my inventory is. I gotta know how many lemons I need, how much sugar I need, how much am I gonna sell that day in order to make a profit. That is all the math that you teach. And so the question becomes, how do you get them to explain what they're doing? Because if they can't explain it, they don't know it. Okay, so go to your browser, and I'm gonna show you how to make a sandbox. If you go to your canvas, you see this right here, Commons? That's where you find all kinds of good stuff. Anybody been to Commons? You've been to Commons. There's not too much in there for you. Okay. Okay. Nobody here's been to Commons? Okay, you've been to Commons. Okay, I know y'all have been to Commons. Because you gotta find. It's not a whole lot of AP material other than what's in the AP content. And you really can't use that content unless you're getting ready to test, which is, so you gotta find some other places to get content. But Commons is a great place to find stuff that other people did, okay? Stuff that's gonna help you build a lesson. So the first thing you're gonna do is go to Commons, if you click on it. And what you will see is a lot of different things that you can do. I'm sorry, go to resources. So scroll down and go to resources. Everybody there? Okay. So in resources, this is where they give you all the things that you may need to build something, if you're trying to. Did everybody else's come up?
Yes, mine is,
For whatever reason, mine is not coming up. You have all kinds of choices. What you're going to do is create a course sandbox. Okay, so click on Create a Course Sandbox. And if you don't have a homeroom canvas, that's okay. All you do is just go to your canvas. And then once you create, it's gonna come up and it's gonna say creation form. You're gonna pick a name for this sandbox you're gonna create. Pick a name. Now, the only thing about the name is once you get it, you can't change it. Okay? So pick any name. Pick what you teach. pick, math trial and error. You could pick English, trial. Pick anything. You're going to, Brian came up. Yeah, where it says course name. Anything you want. Okay, what you're not gonna do, you see this box right here? Check. You're not gonna check that. None of y'all are teaching elementary. And then this statement is for a purpose. This course will not pass grades back to, it says Power School, but we're talking Internet campus. Okay? And you have to click, I understand. And then you click on submit. Everybody got a sandbox? Who doesn't have a sandbox? Okay, everybody got a sandbox? Okay, y'all got some place to play now, make mistakes. Okay, it does not count. That's the beauty of this, is that it does not count. So once you create your sandbox, and you go back to your Canvas, and you look up courses, you're gonna see that course there. And it's not gonna be in published. You gotta scroll down to unpublished. You see I have a lot of different courses. Okay? But you look for here, I created a sandbox for the business management course I was teaching. Okay? So what's gonna happen is that you're going to see that sandbox. That sandbox is a Canvas shell. You can put anything in that you want to try it out. Okay, so if you look in my sandbox, this looks just like a Canvas course. Okay, the only thing I don't have are people and grades. But I have every other option that I can possibly want. If I want to put lessons in there and figure out how to do the assignment, how to do the quiz, how to take the quiz from Mastery Connect and put it in Canvas so they can take the quiz and then I can grade it. Here's your sandbox, you can play with all of that. And then actually do it in your Canvas. So now everybody has their little sandbox.
Now you do want us to publish it.
No. You don't want nobody to see it. It's for you. Okay? It's where you make your mistakes in private. Okay, so now what I want you to do, and this is kind of the last thing you're gonna do, think about your lessons, what you teach. I want you to work with a partner and think think about a lesson that you are gonna teach this week. Figure out what the reading, what the writing, and what the discussion is going to be. It could be that you put up on the board the reading. It's a short paragraph. And we're gonna read it together. It could be the writing is answer this discussion prompt with this one question. It could be, now I want you to turn and talk to each other about what you've written and then read out from each table. Is that the format of a lesson in here? What I just said?
Yes.
Okay? This is not to make this hard, folks. It's to make it easier for you. All right? So work with your partners, think about a lesson. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. And we're gonna talk about how Canvas could support your content area. I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. Mr. Count, you need to join the group. You need to join the group. Cause you teach EC, right? Huh? Extend. Right? And then you prompt them through passing discussion. And that's what we're trying to get to. They would then fill that out, then submit it, right? And then you could have them come back to campus and then have a exit ticket. So, what did you want? Okay, with the prompt. And so now you have a couple of things. You haven't, you've given the students a clear note of what you're going to do. You have them put you into a place they need to go to. You have them writing a reflection on what they want. You have them then come back together, have a group discussion, I see what you have. And you say, okay, so what did you write about? What did you write? Ask some challenging questions. You fill out the extra ticket. click on the module, and I click on lessons on day one, and I click on that, I can see the notes. If you're putting everything in an assignment, it's not an assignment. What you think expect somebody to do as part of that assignment, somehow, the whole lesson is not an assignment. It should have all of those components. So that if I'm a parent and I'm raising my kids, I know, when I go to modules and see lessons, I can email you these questions. And then I can, once you grade it, and I see level of grade, so I and that's a valid question, but the feedback is the parent. That's the word.
I'm the one who, like, I would give you.
But in the assignment, if it's not something
If you don't want to do it, I'll give you.
then you can't give feedback. Right, so that makes and then, when you say assignments, and we say assignments, everyone's talking about what is different.
They want to be so easy.
You can't get words done like that. I'm talking, millimeters and talking miles, right? You can't bracket. I got a military husband. You can't bracket if we ain't all talking the same language. And that's what this is about. It is to understand there is a common language for this. There is a common language for expectations of others. And there's no confusion. You can't get off the boat saying, well, in Miss Brown's class, I don't operate it. In Miss So-and-so's class, it's okay. Exactly. Exactly. And then, I hear it. I hear what you hear. I don't know if I turned it into something. I didn't even know we had something. You see, here's what camps do. If you are using modules, so much to put everything in, and then the assignment is just what you expect them to do. It's not saying something. When you break it, it sends a notification that says, you have an assignment that's due. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's do a quick talk, and then you can fill out this Google form, and then I am done. So, what you guys come up with? Who you guys come up with? Perfect. You gotta do a 30-second elevated speech. Okay, in my classes, we used to go start with, let's understand what 30 seconds is. Okay? Right, right. Let's understand what 30 seconds is. Okay? Let's understand how you're making that conversation. Let's understand what my expectation is. Okay? And so it's interactive. The class is gonna be listening. It's an assignment. Everybody knows they have to do it. They gotta write something first. You can't just get up there and talk for 30 seconds. You gotta know what you're talking about. Okay, what about you want to do?
Well, part of our lesson, we'll have a English, we'll have a writing piece or some questions to answer. And but then sometimes I do the partnerships when I've started to do the education get up and walk around. Find someone that has
Yeah.
the same color as you.
Yeah. Get them walking around the classroom, okay? Sit and get, you hate them. Don't tell me you love sitting yes, because you don't. Right? But when it's interactive, when you're up, when you're walking around, when they get to talk, because kids love to talk. They used to. Well, we gotta get them back into talking, we're talking about the subject. Okay? What about over here? And then what does it relate to? What is the real life experience that they can come up with that this relates to? What about over here? Just say you don't want it.
Oh, okay. See, I'm
I'm
always.
asking. Yeah, it
I
asks.
use it, but I've never heard of like sync. I just want to be sure.
Yeah, every assignment that you give a student doesn't have to be great.
Oh yeah, that's what I was like, just trying to make sure I didn't do that. Just to be like, oh wow, it's something we have to tell you. Anyway, you put.
Every assignment doesn't have to be great. Every assignment. Okay, and everyone, that's it for me. This is just to give you an overview of the PD, what things you can do with Canvas. Here is a Google form to ask you more questions. And the one thing, you know, it took me, I write canvases for CTE. So I know a lot about them. I've done it a very long time. It takes a moment to learn Canvas. But the one thing you've got to remember is that you need documentation. You need documentation for a whole lot of reasons. When you're being observed, when you're talking to a parent, okay? When you look at your evaluation, you need to be asking yourself, are these rigorous lessons that are gonna get me more than proficient? Can my observer, my AD, go to my Canvas and look at my lessons and see that I have a progression for what I want students to do? The data. Can I look in Canvas and see the progression of my students? Because that one fact is on your evaluation. Are kids experiencing growth? It is not just about the numbers. It is about what kids can do. What do they know? Can they explain what they know to you? Does anybody have any questions?
My question before we were talking earlier before, as I was showing you, like, you mentioned, obviously, I could, assign something inside, Canvas, and then have them go
module is the whole lesson of the day. Okay? Because, just to show you, and you all have a model. The lessons that are the homeroom lessons are set up just like a lesson should be. Okay? Does everybody have this? Did somebody say no? Yes. Sorry, I coughed. I will do that. I would do a unit as a module. The reason you do a unit as a module is because when you publish and the kids see all that, right? Because you want to try to chunk it, give them a little bit at a time. Because when you give them too much, they shut down. I'm not doing all that. I never publish more than a year. And I never publish, publish two assignments, or two modules. When I say two modules, two lessons within the module. You don't need to see all of what you gotta do. Because if I show you all of what you gotta do, you're gonna tell me right up straight front, I'm not doing it. So what I was saying to you is when you look at what you see in the Heart of Grams, that course, it's built so that you can go back to it, look at it, and understand what you need to do. Or what's not in your assignment. So if I went to today, do you see this overview? This tells everybody, including your AP, what you're doing for today. Okay? It tells them, here's what the lesson is, here's what the students are gonna do. Here are the goals that I expect them to accomplish. Here are the slides. And here's what we're gonna talk about. Yeah. You're welcome. If you have any questions.
The attendance slide, Ms. Bullock.
Oh, hold on a second. The attendance, I gotta give you that. Let's see. Here's your attendance sheet or form that you need to fill out. Okay, everybody got this attendance?
No,